All right, welcome in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is 7 a.m. Tuesday, April 14th, right here on Jocks. A lot of college football to get to today. Plenty to discuss, plenty to talk about. We'll talk a little recruiting today as well. Steve Wilfong going to join us. What's happening in Kentucky, how impressive that is. Alabama, Auburn, kind of where are they amongst the SEC and other teams. But, GMAC, you made a lot of noise on social media yesterday with your conversation with Pete Golding on your podcast that you had yesterday. A lot of people talking about some of the answers that he gave you. Haven't had a chance to talk to Pete in a while. We haven't had him on this show. What was your main takeaway with some of the things he shared with you?
You know, we taped it a couple weeks back, and he was in Pete at this point is so comfortable in his own skin. Like, Pete, you would think guys would change or adjust or change their personality in an effort to be more like a head coach has been. Like, Pete's just Pete. Like, that's just, I think, the most amazing part about it is, albeit his role has changed, he's under the biggest microscope possible. Doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. Like, he is who he is. It's how he coaches ball, and it's how he's going to approach it. So he's just a bird of a different feather, but he's about as true to himself as about any coach I think I've ever been around. And I think he's going to do a great job. I mean, when you think about what they had to endure in the postseason last year, it's kind of insane. Like, how do you think he's going to handle not living in such a chaotic environment going forward?
I think it'll be something that he'll thrive in because, like you said, his personality is infectious. Guys like playing for him. Guys like being around him. As long as the organizational portion of it is there, I think he'll have success. But, I mean, he shared that with you. What did he say about Lane and maybe being able to read him, understand him, know what was going to happen there when things were coming to a close?
Well, it was funny because what he said, and he kind of told us this, what he said was exactly what he told us leading up to the Sugar Bowl when we were getting ready to call the game. I'm sitting there with Kiff. We're on our way back from Starkville. We just played the game. I have no idea if he's staying, going. I don't know, because on Tuesday he's going to Florida. Wednesday he's going to LSU. Thursday he's staying. So I really had no idea. And they started after he had gotten back to Oxford, and I believe it was Sunday morning. The dates are, I believe it was Sunday morning. So, and he eventually decided that, all right, I'm going to LSU. Keith Carter, the AD, calls him in, and he starts floating him all these head coaching possibilities, head coaching candidates. And Pete's like, well, I don't want to work for any of them. Like, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I'd rather do it myself than do it for some of those other guys. And it's not that those guys aren't really good. It's just I at this stage in my career, like, I kind of am set in my ways, and I kind of want to do it a certain way. So those guys aren't going to let me do it a certain way. So maybe give me a shot. And then sure enough, like, I think 12 hours later, they decided to go with him as the head coach. I'm sure probably some of that had to do with guys going elsewhere and keeping continuity in that current playoff run. I'm sure there's a bunch of different circumstances in place, but also, like, Pete's Pete. And I think Pete is actually a really good head coaching candidate because he's super, super smart and really, really good at ball, and he's really good at relationships and recruiting. Now, I think the organizational part of it, like you referenced, that's still to be determined, but I think he has all the makings of a great head coach.
No, I don't think there's any doubt about it. And without some of that chaos, without some of that confusion, he's got a chance to be successful. Obviously, he's going to have Trinidad Chambliss back, Kewan Lacey back. Pretty good place to start. He talked to you about John David Baker, too, the offensive coordinator. After talking to him and what you've seen from John David Baker, like, what do you anticipate the differences to be in Oxford with this offense?
Well, it's a little bit of a guess right now. I mean, obviously JDB, and part of what Pete had said publicly to us, privately to us when we were leading up to the game, he actually, when we were meeting with him before the Georgia game, he gave us a rundown on his whole coaching staff, why he hired him, all this other stuff, because he was preparing for those guys to be, if they won the game against Georgia, he was preparing for John David Baker to have to call the plays. I mean, they thought that was a contingency plan where a lot of those coaches weren't going to be able to coach at Ole Miss beyond the Sugar Bowl. So he had to hire all those guys, was kind of giving us the background on that. So long story short, John David Baker is a guy that will kind of make the offense stay the way it was. But when he left for East Carolina, he developed a little bit of a different philosophy, maybe a few new tweaks and wrinkles like anyone would. You go somewhere else and you're outside the chamber of Kiffin, and you can kind of think a little more independently, and it's your show. It's understandable that guys are going to kind of stumble into things that they like. So I think that the philosophies will be similar. I think the execution will be similar, but I have a feeling there'll be a couple tweaks that we are not real sure about right now, and I'm not sure we're going to know those until probably week 3, maybe week 1 against Louisville, but for sure week 3 against LSU.
Does that change your opinion of Kejuan Lacey, especially early in the season? Maybe what he will be, has a chance to be. He didn't just bust onto the scene week 1 last year. You know, it's and we've talked about him in practice and what Lane shared with us, that it took him some time to get going. Are there any concerns with you from at least an early portion of the season because of the newness with the offensive coordinator?
No, not really. When you listen to what Pete had said, he said a big part of their recruiting approach this offseason was not just to retain Kejuan, but also to get some depth behind Kejuan. Like last year, they didn't have adequate depth, in his opinion, behind him, so they had to kind of run him into the ground. And I'm not sure if he thinks that's a repeatable recipe. So I don't know a lot about the guys behind him. I'm not going to try to sit here and pretend that I do, but it makes sense. The philosophy that, man, we gave this guy 200 plus carries in the SEC last year. Like, we better be careful doing that again. And he's a star and he's special, but he's kind of the engine that makes the whole thing go beyond that of Trinidad Chambliss. So it's not a surprise that they want to maybe find a 2 and a 3 to spell some of those reps, and those guys maybe slightly different styles. Because if you look at Kejuan, I mean, he can do it all. He's speed, he's agility, he's power. He can kind of do it all. He's a jack of all trades type of back. But if you had maybe a slasher back, maybe a power back, short yard specialist, whatever it might be, maybe having some variety would be helpful as well. Just take some of the strain off him.
No, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's interesting you look at those two coming back and then start thinking about the rest of the roster and maybe what it may look like and how it compares to the rest of the SEC. We were actually going to do this yesterday, talking about Alabama's roster, because people were talking the expectation, kind of what it was, what they should be, where they should land, where the final goals should be. And you kind of look at the roster and you say, well, hold on a second. That might not be the reality of where this team is and where this team's going to go. One reality is that spring weather in Alabama is unpredictable. You can always rely on a Train Home Comfort system, and during their Spring Unstoppable event, you can receive up to a $1,350 rebate on select Train Home Comfort systems. Learn more and find a comfort specialist near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a train. So when you look at the entire roster at Ole Miss, what they're going to have, maybe what they're going to be, I don't have a ton of concerns offensively. Defensively might be the spot that I do. Where would you sort of place their roster on the tiers? We won't have to rank them just now. We can maybe do that throughout the course of this hour. But if you're looking at the tiers of rosters in the SEC, where would Ole Miss fall for you?
You know, as crazy as it sounds, I think it's higher than a lot of people would think. Like, I think they're the team this offseason that is being slept on the most. And I understand that they lost a couple key pieces for sure, but you look at what's back, including quarterback and running back. You look at what's back along the defensive line, like a couple difference-making pieces, and probably an improved secondary because it can't get much more inconsistent than they had in the secondary last year. So, like, help me out, Cole. Like, are they being slept on more than anybody else? Because it certainly feels that way to me.
I've seen them ranked fairly high in a lot of the sort of way too early top 25s. I don't know if I would go slept on. Like we talked about Ole Miss or Oklahoma being slept on a little bit. I would say more people are probably sleeping on is probably not the right word, because I think that then alludes to people are just not thinking they can accomplish anything, but not getting the proper discussion right now that maybe they should be. I think Ole Miss people look at as going to be an exciting team. I think people probably look at the departure of Lane as more detrimental. This is sort of, the big college football observer pool. I think they look at the departure of Lane as much more detrimental than any player, any group of players, or anything of that nature. So, I mean, listen, Lane's a great coach. He won a lot of games there.
Great coach.
It's going to be different without him there. But with what they do have back and where Pete's been, I have confidence in Pete Golding. I don't think you go win 2 playoff games by accident. So regardless of what was already in place or what wasn't in place, I think the roster is probably second, third of the SEC, knocking on the door of first, third of the SEC. I think a couple of their top end guys are with anybody in the league. We're going to talk about depth with just about anybody, but I still don't look at that. I think this may be the year. Is this the year that the line of scrimmage kind of catches up with them a little bit, because they've gotten some really nice pieces over the last few years? But you got Perkins back. You got Eccles back, who we love. He just doesn't have the guy right across the ball from him that's going to cause a lot of problems, kind of like he has been. Cam Franklin, inside, outside. I mean, if people were to say that and people were to ask that question, is this the year that sort of the line of scrimmage goes back to the early Lane Kiffin years? I would probably push back on that and say, no, I don't think so. You got Kudus back, Bryson Sanders offensively that have been there for a while. It's not going to be a dominant offensive line, but that's not how they're going to run their offense. So, I mean, you've got Luke Haas to be able to come in at tight end, who was injured last year but can be a really good player in this league. That's an important position. So I don't think the roster takes a back seat to more than 3-4 teams in the league, honestly. And the first two that are going to come to mind are going to be Georgia and Texas. All right, cool. No one's really going to argue with that. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that. And then I think there's a couple you could debate with how close they are.
I think it's fair. But answer me this. How many teams potentially have the top quarterback in the league? Just saying. Like,
two,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Two on the surface. However, I think you parentheses that with maybe 3-4 others. You said because you said potentially.
We don't know.
Yeah, you said potentially. Yes. So I'm going to allow for Lenore Sellers to be in that conversation. I'm going to allow for Sam Levitt to be in that conversation. I'm allowed the Marcel Reed to be in that conversation. And then there's some youngsters that we just haven't seen enough of. Well, listen, from skill, like overall ability, I'm going to at least amount of snaps played. John Mateer's in that conversation. Marcel Reed's in that conversation. I don't think Marcel Reed will become the best quarterback in the league, but I think you have those two first, and then you have a group of about 4 or 5 where you could say, all right, if you're just saying potential, it's at all feasible possible, then I'm going to put those in that group as well. Hell, maybe Missouri.
I agree. Yeah.
Ability? I mean, just ability. Just ability.
Arm talent.
Yes.
Arm talent. Yeah. Like, I don't know if, like, for example, like, as far as overall playing the position, like, nobody has as much ability as Lawrence Sellers. Like, you know what I mean? But, like, that's not
there's more to
talent. Does not necessarily translate to elite level quarterback play. But tell me this, like, right now, pecking order, I think 95% of the college football population would draft Trinidad Chambliss in the top 3 of an SEC quarterback draft. 95%.
Going into this year?
Maybe.
Let's do that. Hold on. Let's do that on the other side. All right. We will go snake draft. 3 of us. We don't know what's around them. We don't know who's with them. We don't know the offense they're running. We're just drafting quarterbacks. We're just going to go play some football, and we're going to draft quarterbacks. And I'm going to give Greg the first pick. And we're going to see exactly how it goes. Your first pick of things that you're going to go do in Birmingham here coming up in the next few weeks, Greg, the Regions Tradition should probably be one of them.
Yeah, it's one of the great events that we have here in the community, and I always look forward to it. I like playing on Wednesday. It's always a lot of fun to see Coach Saban and Charles Barkley, a bunch of other folks that are coming out and supporting Children of Alabama because, look, the Regions Tradition is a major championship. You know, all the way through the weekend, you're going to get great golf. Some of the biggest legends of this generation right here in our community, and some of the fan favorites walking amongst them is really, really cool. But it's really a whole weekend full of activities and unforgettable experiences. I referenced the Wednesday Pro-Am. That's a Drummond Company Celebrity Pro-Am. I can't wait to be out there teeing it up. Also, if you look at some of the concerts that they have throughout the weekend too, I mean, Blues Travel will be here on Saturday night, so there's a lot to look forward to there as well. So kids under 15 get in free. Great outing for the whole family. And they are, of course, supporting Children's of Alabama as their primary beneficiary again. So don't miss out on Greater Birmingham's most beloved signature event. Get your tickets today at regentstradition.com. That's regentstradition.com. We'll see you out there.
All right, so when we come back, we'll draft SEC quarterbacks, the three of us. We'll go a little snake draft, round by round. Who would go first, second, third? What surprises will we have in store for you? We'll find out next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. If we win an SEC quarterback draft, how would that play out? Where would certain quarterbacks go? Where would they come off the board? So we will kind of snake this thing between each other and kind of see who would select who and where they would come off and how that would go. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in, talk SEC quarterbacks. 800-239-WJOX. Greg, you will start us off. You can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube as well. You can also listen online. JocksFM.com. App is in the App Store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Always listen on the go. Watch us live on YouTube. Search Jocks945 there. And tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill.
Well, Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion of GMC dealers. All you got to do is take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. I-65, exit 310, Highway 31. You'll find a ton of options on the lot that are just such incredible discounts. I'm amazed that they can even make money when you see a discount like this, like a GMC Sierra 1500 SLT, $68,170 is the list price. You can take $15,000 off the sticker price, and you can get that for just $53,170. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. There's a reason why 6 times they've won the GMC Dealer of the Year in a row. They won 9 times overall, and why 75% of their business repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith.
All right, you're up first. You have the number 1 pick out of the gate, SEC quarterback. We're starting a team for this season. We have no idea who's around them. What's next? What's left?
So it's purely based on quarterback skill and upside.
You're just taking a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, let's just be real. If you look at it all right now across the board, the guy that I think has the highest floor is Gunnar Stockton. The guy that I think has the highest ceiling, based on performance last year, you could make an argument on behalf of Trinidad Chambliss, and you could also make an argument on behalf of Lenora Sellers. But you got to go with Arch Manning. With the arrow that was pointing up at the end of last season, you get the sense that his best football's in front of him. And I just think he's going to have a terrific year. Because a lot of it does have to do with supporting cast. There's a few too many unknowns around Gunnar Stockton, around Lenora Sellers, and around Trinidad Chambliss. Just too many new faces at wide receiver.
Okay. Damian, you have the number 2 pick. SEC quarterback draft.
The Damian Mitchells will be selecting Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback, Ole Miss.
Okay. So Chambliss now off the board. I will take Gunnar Stockton at 3. I'm going to give you an in-depth draft analysis here. I think he's the best football player of any of these kids we're going to talk about. So
that's fair.
You can have your quarterback. I'll take the football player.
That's fine.
All right.
I do believe that, though. I think he's the best football player of any of these quarterbacks we're going to talk about. Now, does maybe
way to go out on a limb.
A smidge of his,
Lenoris is
a
right
smidge
there.
of his. I think Lenoris is the most physically gifted of any of these we're going to talk about, and that includes his size, his stature. But when you're talking about intangibles, things of that nature, I think he goes a little bit a step ahead. Now, the quarterback acumen, some of those things may not be up to snuff to where some of the others are, but like you said, I agree with what you said as well. Highest floor of any of these guys we're probably going to be talking about. Okay, so next, when we snake this and go 1, 2, 3, then how do we go next? Do I go first?
You go first.
Well, who goes second, though? You again?
Me, yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah, Damian.
I had it written up. That's how I had it written up, but then it's like when you get to the third round.
Football?
No. I haven't. And when I did with my son, I think I just let it auto draft. I was like, that
There you go.
ESPN app probably knows more than I do about fantasy football because I don't care about it and don't pay attention to it. So now's when I think things begin to get just a little bit tricky because you start having to make those conversations about maybe what someone could be, what someone is, and then what someone might be. But I'm going to go with the conversation we just had. I'm going to take Lenora Sellers next. I think we're not going to be able to talk about the system, the scheme, but another year, another offseason, him being able to figure out some of the things where he can improve upon areas he made mistakes, being 6'4", 240, 35, run the way he does, helps a lot. So I'll go Lenora Sellers 4th off the board.
All right, and for my second pick, I will be taking Auburn quarterback Byram Brown.
That's probably the first upset of the day, I would say. Not so much because it's him, Greg, because of who's left on the table, potentially.
Yeah. I love it. I'm glad he took him.
So you can get who you wanted at 6 or because you think it's the wrong pick?
Because I got the next 2 picks. I'm about to go ham on the next 2 picks. How mad are y'all?
I
number 6.
I was going to make Greg pick second in the next round.
No, can't. Can't do it. Snake draft.
See, now I know what this has happened to me in basketball for my kids. Now I remember this. You get stuck.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I couldn't be happier with where things are right now. And look, I know I'm leaving some upside on the table.
So hold on 1 second. You're in the middle the whole time?
Yeah.
The whole time.
Only because we have 3
dumb.
Trust me.
All right, so
I've done a lot of fantasy.
Greg, Damian Cole, 7, 8, 9.
I've done a lot of fantasy football. So.
It just is. Because Damian should have the first pick in a round at some point, and he should pick last in a round at some point.
It's just the draw, man.
He's right in the middle.
It's just the draw.
He's just straddling the fence, exactly where he wants to be. It's in a perfect spot.
He's the belly of the snake. He just sits right there in the middle.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely love it.
You're up with the number 6 pick.
I will take 6 and 7. I'll do them together. I'll take John Mateer and Sam Levitt. Thank you. Championship.
What? Backyard ball in the hospital?
Championship. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Just roll the ball out there.
Okay. All right.
That's basically a Pro Bowl roster.
Who's catching it?
Right.
Who cares? Don't need them.
All
You
right.
got 3 quarterbacks that are that good compared to y'all's teams, and I don't need any receivers. I'll just throw it a country mile, run underneath it.
Probably going to work.
Yeah.
Okay, Damien.
I took the guy that was playing the best at the end of the season, a guy that was playing the best at the beginning of the season, and a guy that 2 years ago was one of the best, probably top 5 quarterback in college football. So you guys right now have a project in Lenoris that is bad to moments, but not. Gunnar Stockton, who's excellent. Love him, can't complain. Trinidad Chanlis, who was excellent down the stretch, hot as can be, as the season came to a close. And then your second picks, both are question marks a little bit. Fair or unfair?
If we are ranking size of question mark against Lenore Sellers and John Mateer, I would like to have a conversation about that from the guy that threw 14 touchdowns and 11 picks last year.
How about the guy that rushed for 800 and broke his hand 4 games into the season?
John Mateer rushed for 800?
Whatever. Or 2 years ago he did.
431 last year.
2 years ago.
That's basically 800. It's basically 800.
No, 2
It's
years
almost
ago.
there.
All right, tell me Lenoris's rushing numbers from last year.
I can get that for you in just a moment.
Yeah.
He's running for his life.
Would like to.
I'm not talking about horizontal rushing. I know one game you ran for like 1,000 yards.
Yeah, like yards
Yeah.
accumulated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
270. I would like to see it against the Sacks.
Yards accumulated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lenore
All right, you
sells
went
by
for
a mile.
270 last year? Perfect.
Yep.
Sounds good. How many did my guy have?
470 something, I believe.
Okay.
11 picks. I can't find fumbles on here either, which I would like to know.
No, not an important stat.
Ah,
When you're talking John Mateer and trying to make a case for him, you're right. It's probably not. All right, Damien, you're up with the 8th pick in our SEC quarterback draft.
I will be taking the upside of one Texas A&M quarterback, Marcel Reed.
Okay. I mean, obviously, very gifted. When he's on, he's on. And we've seen him make big-time throws, big-time plays. It's just that it seems to kind of shut down at times. Seems kind of go away a little bit. But, yeah, that's one that I'm not – I think this is when things become a little bit questionable next, because now you could start taking some potential of guys we've barely seen, or guys that we essentially have not seen play real college football just yet, which is going to lead me to take Austin Simmons in this spot.
Good pick. Good value pick.
I believe in the ability. I believe in the arm talent. Like Greg said, I do think his mobility is underrated. Now, how much do you want to use? Because it's gotten him dinged up. You know, you don't want to live and die on it. But if it's not him, you're taking guys that essentially have minimal game experience against low-quality opponents. So it becomes a little bit of a wild card after this.
That's fine. I love how you rip Mateer for interceptions. You take Austin Simmons. That makes perfect sense to me.
Okay. Also, 9th versus 6th selections. So a little bit different there.
Fine.
A little bit different
I
there.
love how you rip Mateer's rushing ability and draft Lenore Sellers 4, and I get Mateer at 6. I didn't use the draft order as a pop against you.
Okay, well, you're up at 10, so go ahead.
I love it. We're about to bury everybody. Give me. Gosh, it's tough because the next couple quarterbacks have yet to win the starting job.
It's really
Do I
hard.
have to go in one direction or the other? Or can I go Alabama quarterback?
No, I think you have to pick a guy. Like the Raiders can't take
Since when?
Indiana quarterbacks, number 1.
Why? That's the way it used to be.
You gotta be
Yeah,
specific.
just take
on NCAA
position
football
group
when
from
we
a
were
certain
playing.
place. Yeah.
No, we need
Yeah.
specific.
QB 14 TCU. Like, we saw that before. That's not that unusual. I don't understand. What's the problem?
Nope. You take a guy with the 10th pick in our inaugural SEC quarterback draft. Greg McElroy
Yeah.
selects.
I am going to go. I am going to go with the. Can't be Vandy. Can't. I like
No, you can take the
Kentucky's
5-star.
quarterback.
You can take the 5-star.
No, you can have him. I like Kamara Taylor, but I don't know yet. I'm not sold there. Don't know who it's going to be at Florida. Really don't. So it's a little bit too up in the air. I don't know who it's going to be at Tennessee. A little too up in the air. Give me Alabama. I'm still going to go Austin Mack. But I think after this.
This is going to be great because I know exactly where Damien's going next. Do it. I know you want to do it. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm getting Keelan Russell.
There you go. I knew it was coming.
Yes, sir.
Which makes 12 really fun. Who's the best backup in the league?
Jackson Arnold.
He's in UNLV.
It's not here.
He's in UNLV.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah. I know.
Deuce Knight. Take Deuce Knight.
Well,
Deuce Knight.
I mean, if this was
we're playing Mercer.
If this is middle of November last year,
Hey.
or a couple days before the portal closed, it would absolutely be Deuce Knight because you can't have a program without him. This is difficult. I'm not even going to lie to you guys.
Well, you heard the Mississippi State room yesterday. A.J. Swan, Jaden Rashada, Kamario Taylor.
I mean, if I'm taking one of those, I know which
Rashada's
one
a
it
good
is.
value pick here. Rashada's a good pick here at this point.
Based on what he's done in his other college football stops, I'm going to say probably not. I mean, I think this has got to be Kamario Taylor. At least we've seen him play some. We've seen his ability to push the ball down the field. Now, I would like him to make decisions on when to throw the football or run the football a little bit faster. We're not talking scheme, so that's going to keep me away from Philo. I would like Philo a lot in that scheme because I think he's going to be able to operate it well. But as Greg pointed out earlier, he might not even win that job. So I'm not going to take a guy that I don't know is going to start. And sorry, but I'm not taking Jared Curtis, the 5-star freshman at Vanderbilt, no matter how friendly that offense might be.
Look how many stars.
Not going to do that.
Look how stars.
Not going to do that. No. So I'll take Kamario Taylor. All right, so there we go. SEC quarterback draft.
Again?
4 rounds. I think it'd be great.
Well,
I think it'd be great if we win again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'd be wonderful.
You keep going.
We got a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Got a lot of
Someone
depth
needs
pieces.
to draft Kenny Minchie at Kentucky.
Who's committed in
I'm telling you,
28?
I think Kenny Minchie's going to be good.
You can have him
At
next.
Kentucky, I do.
You're third in the next round. I guarantee you he'll be there.
All right, perfect. I'll take him.
We'll slide him for you.
Perfect. Oh, it's like
the do
a
not
Major League
contact
Baseball
sign.
draft. I already pre-negotiated with Kenny Minchie. You guys can't draft him.
I mean, honestly, though, if you were looking at it, is it a
Toss up in a few different.
is it a
directions.
long street at
If you
LSU?
were up,
Is it a
no, I think it's probably honestly, I think you probably just go with the veteran and just play it safe at Florida with
Philo? Yeah.
But I don't think it's easy because I do like Tramel Jones.
Like, does
a
Faison
lot,
Brandon have
actually.
enough upside to take him in the next round? It's hard to tell. We don't really know.
I think Faison Brandon's ultimately going to end up probably winning that job. That's what I mean. I think it's
Is
so
Jacob
early to
Zeno still on the
tell, and
A&M
it's
roster?
No,
don't
you know
think
who
so.
is?
Brady Hart?
Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers is at A&M playing quarterback.
He's
again.
back?
He's back. Yeah.
Probably could get more than he'll get in the NFL this year.
Diego Pavia just got cleared for another year,
Let's go.
so put him back in there.
Hey, you made fun of it a minute ago, but the Deuce Knight pick here at like 13, 14 might not be terrible.
It's a good safe pick.
Yeah, I don't think Deuce Knight would go this early because one, tape from Mercer, not the most applicable, but I do think in that style of offense with what I've seen from him, granted limited sample size, I do like his fit in the offense that he ultimately chose. And assuming they run a lot of the same things that they've done in the past.
This discussion has brought up a question for me that we have not discussed. A quarterback room in the league that we have had a lot of conversations about, but only one part of it. And maybe there's a different part of it that we need to be discussing because it has affected a lot of quarterback rooms in the SEC the last couple of years. We'll do that next right here on Jocks. Okay, so 2 questions here that we will ask you. 7:38 a.m. Tuesday, April 14th. I'll ask the first question, and then we'll answer it probably in our next segment. We'll talk recruiting with Steve Wiltfong at 8 a.m. Dave Waters talked Florida spring game at 9 today. The question that we'll answer in our next segment, 800-239-9569. You can text into the show 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Who won our quarterback draft? So these would be the quarterback rooms that we drafted. Greg, Arch Manning, John Mateer, Sam Levitt, Austin Mack. Damian, Trinidad Chambliss, Byron Brown, Marcel Reed, Keelan Russell. I took Gunnar Stockton, Lenore Sellers, Austin Simmons, Kamario Taylor. I'm just going to be honest. Personally, I don't see a clear winner. Okay, you're leaning on backyard ball guy and guy who hasn't practiced in the spring. So
I have
good
literally 3. I have 3 preseason. I look at the preseason Heisman odds.
Here we go.
I have 3 guys that are in the mix in the preseason Heisman odds.
Where was Trinidad in the preseason Heisman odds last year? And where was Diego Pavia, who finished second in the voting?
That's great. Yeah, that's exactly where we want to go. Go off of complete outliers from yesteryear. That always works.
I'm just referencing what were the Heisman odds at the beginning of last year. And what did that tell us?
That's not important.
Not at all.
What was Lenora Sellers' Heisman odds last year?
I think he was not as good
top
as
5?
Not as good as Nussmeyer's.
No.
Or Klubnik's.
No.
Or Arch.
So.
No. Or Drew
I
Allen.
love how you're dogging me when you took like the ultimate swing guy in Lenoris, who I love.
I'm not dogging anybody. I'm just saying you say yours is a clear number 1. I'm giving you credit for potentially yours may lean number 1, but
it may
by a mile. You took a guy that might not even start for his team.
Yeah, at 4, value pick.
Okay, well might not start.
He might not. That's fine. The other 3 will.
And you're talking bona fide guys. Damian's got 3 bona fide guys. I mean, Marcel Reed starter, Byron Brown starter, Trinidad Chambliss starter.
Trinidad Chambliss.
And Keelan Russell
offense,
might knock one of your guys out.
Faces around him. Good. And then number 2, Byron Brown. Big step up in competition. Not saying he can't make it. Just saying there are some unknowns there. And then you also look at, first of all, the safest pick in the whole draft is Gunnar Stockton at 3. By far.
You're welcome.
Safest pick.
Yep.
1,000%.
Okay.
I think the biggest dice
that
roll
class
is
moves
Lenoris
up in
at 4.
rankings.
No, biggest dice roll is Lenoris at 4.
Instead
Lenoris
of
could be
Mateer or Levitt?
I mean, there's a step up for Levitt as well as far as quality of competition. So there is that for sure. But he's also got a very quarterback-friendly offense that should ease that transition a little bit. I think Mateer proved last year in the first 4 games of the year prior to the thumb injury that he can play high-level ball. We've seen it. All right. He was playing great ball there, played a good defense in Michigan, played great ball there the first 3-4 games. There's another gear there. I think we're going to get that this year as long as he plays a little smarter and doesn't try to take the game over. This is not Washington State. This is Oklahoma, where you have real defensive personnel that you're having to play against on a week-to-week basis. So I think he's learned that and will be a more mature player this year. But the reality is you took Lenora Sellers. Lenora Sellers could be 1, as we know, or it could be 9. Like you tell me I'm wrong there.
You're not. No, but I think you could say the same thing about John Mateer. I think you could say the same about Sam Levitt. You could say the same thing about Byron Brown. You could say the same thing about Marcel Reed. You could say the same thing about, I think, Austin Simmons. If Austin Simmons is healthy and that offense clicks and he kind of gets it and the quick game RPO nature, the play action with what they're going to do at the stretch, like he could have a monster year. I'm not saying that I believe he's going to be 1, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities.
It's not.
I think of all these guys we're talking about, if there's someone who's truly being slept on with what they're potentially capable of doing that no one's really talking about, it's Austin Simmons. Now, I also agree he hadn't proven he can stay healthy. And consistency, will need to improve. Some decision making will need to improve. But you know good and well, if he's able to lean on an offense that's pounding the stretch with Ahmad Hardy, and that's going with a legitimate tight end to be able to spit the ball down to from an intermediate standpoint, and then take advantage of play action and some of the other thing and have all the movement and whatnot. Now, we said we weren't going to talk scheme and system, but just this is a different conversation. Guys that are not getting any run right now that could have monster seasons, I think that would be Austin Simmons as far as that not many people are talking about at all.
Yes. But explain to me this. How is the hype surrounding Austin Simmons potentially having a big year at Mizzou, which I agree with you. I do think it's different with a lefty quarterback. That's beside the point. I think it'll go.
By the way,
fine.
I asked Drink, sorry to interrupt you. I asked Drink that when we were in studio last week, and he said he has never coached a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah, it's different. It's a little different. I'm not saying it totally alters who you are, but they do such a good job of cutting the field in half. It's just going to require a little different thinking.
That's what he said. He goes, it's going to take thought. He goes, like I know, can't be calling bootlegs in the boundary. Like,
yes,
you got to be. He's like, some things going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, not rolling right, and with how they, they cut the field in half. Like that's what they do. That's their run game. That's how they style it, and it's great. But tell me right now, who potentially could have a bigger year this year? Like, I mean, you rolled the dice on Simmons. I think Simmons has a really good chance to have a big year. I agree with you wholeheartedly. We also don't know for sure that Matt Zollers is out of the question. It's not like it's a bona fide guarantee that Matt Zollers won't win that job. So,
well, Austin Simmons, he named him the starter. So,
doesn't mean that's great.
I mean, it doesn't mean that. I do think it's over, barring an injury, but Zollers will go practice. He'll try, but he's not going to be a starter. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough. And Trinidad wasn't named the starter last year either. So we'll see what happens there. But I think the upside that I might have with Austin Mack is every bit as good as the upside you might have with Austin Simmons. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Austin Mack can rip the football. Like that touchdown he threw in the 8-day game was. Whew.
I don't think either one of you went wrong, honestly. Now, maybe you took him a spot or two early, but.
No, I don't think we can go wrong with either side of that equation. Like I love Keelan too.
It's just that one's not going to be a starter. Yeah, I think they both could be fantastic. It's just one's not going to play this year. Just not. All right, so you guys tweet in, you guys call in 800-239-9569. Greg's quarterback room, Arch Manning, John Mateer, Sam Levitt, Austin Mack. Damien's quarterback room, Trinidad Chambliss, Byron Brown, Marcel Reed, Keelan Russell. My quarterback room, Gunnar Stockton, Lenore Sellers, Austin Simmons, Kamario Taylor. All right, so that's one part of this discussion. The part that it took me to that we have not mentioned this entire offseason yet was what we just drafted, a quarterback room. There's a full room that has gotten a lot of compliments, but maybe the flip side also needs to be discussed, and we hadn't done it yet, and we'll do it next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Couple minutes to discuss part of this topic that we have not gotten to. And this whole conversation of quarterback rooms and where we are, who we would take, a little bit of a quarterback draft in the SEC that we had. A couple folks chiming in. Beham Dog tweets in, great segment. I think you should do other position groups leading up to the start of the season, informational and entertaining. So let's do that. We'll have other position groups throughout the course.
Left guard next.
Heck yeah.
I'm cooked.
Trey Smith.
Right tackle. But we could just I think we could collectively probably go offensive lineman. But we could go receiver. We could go tight end. We could go running back. There's a couple guys defensively I think we could go, which would be, I think, interesting to hear, like which direction we would go. And we can do a little bit of research maybe the day before and have that. We'll do that throughout the course of the offseason leading up to the year. It'd be a cool segment to do. Thor tweets in, calling Lenore Sellers is a reach while taking Levitt, Mateer, and Mack is delusional.
Well, one got drafted at 4. The other got drafted at 6, 7, and 10 or 13.
Hamilton tweets in, just hearing Cole repeat the lineups in sequence, I feel like it would have to be between Damian and Greg. Sorry, Cole, that sounded a bumpy ride when you said it out loud. Yeah, I had the worst draft slot. Not even close.
You're working what you got.
I know. You got to take what you get there. So
there you go.
We'll see.
And no one said Lenoris is a reach. He just has boomer bust potential. There's no reach there at all.
Sure.
I think it's an appropriate draft spot. It's just there's a lot of variation with what we've seen in his level of play. We've seen moments where he's the best player on the football field. We've seen moments where he's trying to do too much, or maybe the supporting cast isn't playing great. It's just he's got a wider gap than a lot of the other guys, which makes him intriguing, frankly.
Okay, so here is where this brought me, this entire practice, because I thought it was really interesting that Damian went Byron Brown at 5. Not so much because of what Byron Brown is or we think he's going to be this year, but like you said, John Mateer has a lot of upside. Sam Levitt has been really good in college football. He's also dinged up right now. Marcel Reed, when he's on, is on, and can be dynamic in a lot of different ways. So taking Byron Brown there felt a little safer, but maybe not as high of a ceiling. That's not exactly where this took me, though, because as we got later in the draft, what did we start doing? We started thinking about other teams like Alabama. Who are we going to take between those teams? We don't even know if that's going to be the starter. We had a conversation about the Missouri situation. We talked about a couple of other teams we might not even know who that guy's going to be just yet. Like Tennessee's backup. Maybe that's worth the ceiling of what you could potentially get. Here's the conversation, Greg, that we might not have. Should there be real concern about the Auburn quarterback room, top to bottom? We're not worried about Byron Brown and these stupid college football accounts that are talking about the release and the throwing motion. That's fine. I got numbers to back up my side of that, which is not concerned. You can have your concerns, and you can try to get your clicks and try to draw people in and say, oh, the release point, look at the throw motion, when a guy's literally just trying to sidearm an outlet route to a back in warm-ups. Good for you. It's fine. However, one thing we have not talked about is
that's behind him.
Tristan Tia being the backup quarterback and Lachlan Hewlett being the third string quarterback. Now, he's been in the system, been in the scheme, so you have some advantages there. 6'1", 195. This is just a conversation we have not had. And Byron Brown, very well put together, so you think durability probably something that favors him just a little bit. But should there be a little bit? Should there be a little concern about the entire Auburn quarterback room, like mainly past Byron Brown?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit for sure. I mean, I don't know anything about those two guys. I mean, what have you heard? I literally know nothing about either one of those two guys.
I actually watched Tristan T a little bit last year at Oregon State because I was watching their offensive line some. I think he's a tough kid. I think he's got a live arm. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good of a college quarterback I think he is or isn't. Specifically on that team last year, I don't know how much or what really was to learn in the time that he got. But let's just go through this real quick. Injuries affect that position last year in the SEC. Alabama? I mean, Ty Simpson wasn't healthy all year, though.
Yeah, he was banged up.
Okay.
He was banged up, but didn't miss time.
Auburn?
Well,
there's more play
I
than
don't
injuries.
think so.
I don't think it was
Florida?
Yeah, you had
it
to
was
play
filthy.
more than one.
Florida? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
DJ was banged up at times. Stockton wasn't dinged up last year, was he? I know
Not that I can
injuries
recall.
affect that team the year before. Kentucky, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you would say yeah. LSU, you would say yes. Ole Miss, you would say yes. Mississippi State, yes. Missouri, yes. Oklahoma, yes. South Carolina, no. Tennessee, no. Texas, no. A&M, Vandy, maybe both no. So that's over half the league that you had something happen to your starter that you either had to manage or put somebody else in or deal with at some point in time. So chances are, if you're playing in the SEC, we're going to know who that guy is because he's got to get into a game at some point.
Yeah.
That's what the numbers say. And we just haven't had that conversation yet. And it's a big unknown that I don't feel like we've had too many conversations about. And maybe something that conversation sparked me to think of is part of that conversation with Auburn this year may need to be, what does the rest of the quarterback room look like? Because it may be called upon at some point in time. So we'll see. Fun conversation, though. Recruiting is where we turn with Steve Wiltfong next, right here on Jocks.